Are you friendly? Nope. I just killed a man. Green Hell VR was so close to being a perfect VR game. Green Hell on flat screen is pretty much known for being the hardest survival game. They made sure that when they put hell in the title, they meant it. So you can only imagine how much more difficult everything is in VR. You know how survival games are not only known for being super difficult, but also extremely grindy? Well, imagine doing everything that you're used to doing with a few fingers and your mouse with your whole body. Just to meet the basic needs for survival, you have to physically cut down trees, physically pick up sticks, physically pick up rocks, physically rip rope off trees, physically light fires, physically draw back your bowstring, physically skin animals, physically crack open nuts, physically pull fish out of the water, so on and so forth. Now, I'm a sucker for survival games, so I may be, a tad bit biased, but I personally kinda like it. It's not especially hard or tiring, so because of how much effort you have to put into, even the smallest things, you feel so much more accomplished when you finally do something. Yes! 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 Yes, 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 yes. Oh, oh my god. Finally. This game takes full advantage of being a VR survival game. It can be surprisingly serene. Sitting in front of a beautiful waterfall with my bow, watching the water and waiting for fish, is probably the most relaxed I've ever felt in VR. But then again, there are things that can be, slightly terrifying. I hear a voice. Are you friendly? Nope. I just killed a man. Can I? Oh my god. Human meat and feathers? Am I that desperate? Why am I even asking that? Of course I'm that desperate. It's not just the butt-ass naked men that are scary, though. The scariest things are often under or inside you. You have to be careful walking, pretty much anywhere. If you aren't constantly looking at where you're stepping, you can easily walk over a spider with apparently armor-piercing fangs that poisons you. But what do you do after that? There's surely a way to, cure the poison after it happens. What? No? No? The fuck? Are you stupid? I'm sure there's a way to cure poison, but the game doesn't teach it to you, and I haven't learned. There are seriously so many things in this game that, for, whatever reason, are just instantaneous death sentences. There's rattlesnakes, which, aren't very bad because they at least have the courtesy to rattle when you're close to them, but the spiders just, don't alert you to their presence. They just straight up kill you. I just got bit by a tarantula. All I can do is, stare at you while I die. And there's stingrays in the water that somehow pierce through your boots and inject you with a venom that has a 100% mortality rate. I can't count how many times I've just been straight up killed when walking over a tiny stream because you can't see them through the shit brown water. Anyways, you also gotta worry about the standard survival stuff. Food, water, sleep, sanity. And the funny thing about the food is you don't just gotta worry about finding something, anything to eat. You gotta fill specific food macros, so it's impossible to cut meat out of your diet or you'll have no good source of protein. So if you don't know you can throw your spear and you don't know how to make a bow, you won't be able to hunt animals and you'll just die. That's a story I heard from somebody. I'm smart enough to know that I can throw a sharp stick. And you need clean sources of food and water. So if your food is raw, dirty, or from questionable sources, you can get parasites. Human meat. Cooked. That gave me a lot of protein. It did, however, give me a parasite. Now, the reason that I said earlier that this game could have been great is because of, the light reason that the developers completely abandoned an entire platform. This game released in 2022 on both Quest and PC, and it got updated for the rest of that year. Until like November, when they just completely cut communication and stopped updating on Steam. They didn't even explain, why. No community posts, no Discord messages, no words from the developers. Just plain nothing. What's even crazier is that they went back and wiped any mention of updates coming to PC. You see this roadmap? This was on their Twitter until they went back and deleted everything mentioning updates. That's the reason there's a total of like 5 pixels in it, because I had to go search through shit to find this. They even went through the effort to edit out any mentions of updates in their Steam community posts. Now the big question is why? Why would you just cut off a large portion of your player base with absolutely zero notice? Why would you leave the game without finishing the roadmap you released and fixing the rampant bugs and horrible optimization? Again, we don't know why, but we can theorize. It could be that the Steam side of the game wasn't profitable, which is, extremely unlikely because this game was absolutely massive. It got millions of views and thousands of players on both platforms. But it could make a tad bit more sense if we take into consideration that the Quest and PC versions are 2 completely different games. I don't know why they did this. There are things that are completely different or just, non-existent between platforms. On PC, you have legs you can look down at and that need care. On Quest, they don't exist. On Quest, you can craft things physically, like having to shave down a stick to make a spear, and having to actually wrap rope around a rock to make an axe. On PC, you just throw the ingredients onto a crafting table. I'm not sure why they did it like this, but I am sure that it didn't end well. My leading theory is that both platforms were profitable, but because Quest is a much larger platform, it was much more profitable than PC. So they just decided to move the resources away from the project that was less profitable to the project that was more profitable. It makes sense from a business standpoint, but hot take, but I don't think it's okay to screw over a portion of your player base with zero notice. Today, 3 years after Green Hell VR's initial release on PC, it still doesn't have the co-op that was promised from the very beginning. And it's still riddled with bugs and horrible optimization issues. And in Kuvo, Green Hell VR's developers are working on another game. And it already doesn't look too good. With a developer's history, I think it's important to be extremely wary, but also kind of open-minded, as there's a chance they could, maybe redeem themselves a little bit. If you have this game, please let your thoughts be known in a review, in their Discord, or in their other social media, as that's all we can really do. I'd love for them to deliver on the promises they made, but at this point, it doesn't seem likely. Anyways, thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing. I bought Green Hell on release, and considering that was 3 years ago at this point, I am past the point of refund. So I'm going to be streaming it on my Twitch this Wednesday, and maybe this Friday. I have channel memberships where for a smooth $2.99, you can join up. If you feel like talking to me about shitty VR studios or anything else, you can join my Discord. And again, thank you for watching.